Good afternoon, everybody. It's Bobby Piton here with day 42 of The Greatest Book Ever Written. And I am going to just wait for a few people to come in and, The Greatest Book Ever Written, copy this over. So thank you for your patience. And I know it's not the ideal time because we talked about doing this at 8:30, but with the holidays and Easter tomorrow, I am going live a little earlier because I won't get back in time. Hi, Maria. How are you? And so, hopefully we have some people come in, and whoever misses it can watch it later. Hey, Matt. How are you? Hi, Jules. And so I'm rearranging the house a little bit because I'm going to try to set up a little more of a studio here, and to make it easier to record stuff and so forth. So I'm pretty excited to get this all reorganized. Everything's kind of torn up. Hey, Jim, how are you? Good afternoon. And so it should be hopefully a little better. And so I'm looking forward to that. Greatest book. Let's see here. Let me see. How you doing, Onward? Book. It's absolutely beautiful here today. I hope it's nice where you guys are at, but I think it's almost like I want to say it probably feels like it's 60, 70 degrees, which is really, really nice. Hi, Angie. And so it looks like it's shaping up to be a beautiful Easter weekend, and I have some interesting stuff to share, which is number one, everybody who's helping me with Tom. I'll be sending out some emails for today. I didn't want to do any emails yesterday because it was Good Friday, and I don't want to do anything on Easter. So, just because we just kind of respect everybody's time for the holiday. But today, if we can I'm going to send out stuff for emails as well as, for Monday and then Tuesday. So with that being said, I am about done and we should be good to go. Okay. So here we are on day 42. And let me see. Just bring this up. Okay. So this was Exodus 32. And this was the, I guess, okay, I will definitely read Jim's email, but I don't know if I'm going to get to it today, guys, because I'm just so busy. But Jim, I will read it. And I apologize if I don't get to it today because I'm racing the clock to finish some stuff before I go to my sister's. The kids are sleeping. Two of my girls are taking their daily nap. And so I have to get a bunch of stuff done before I go over there. But I will get to it. And it's kind of nice because tomorrow is Easter. And I know I shouldn't be working, but I'll just kind of like wind down and try to, recharge my batteries because I'm a little drained. I'm not going to kid you. At times I'm a little drained, but I think yesterday was a draining day, and people will understand a little more later. Okay, so going back to the gold calf, everybody was kind of getting aggravated. Moses was up getting the 10 Commandments, and because of that, they decided to take all their gold and create an idol, and they created a gold calf, and basically. This was a big problem because this obviously angered God and angered Moses. People lost faith. They didn't have the patience for what Moses was doing, and it's a pretty lousy situation to say the least. And when you think about this whole golden calf in the context of what we're living through in the world today, there's a bunch of people that are seeking false idols. And it just so happens I have a daughter who is she'll be 12 this year. And I don't even want to mention who it is, but it's a little obnoxious that some of these pop singers, they have almost like a cult-like following with these kids in the country. And, my daughter, unfortunately, you know, is being a little difficult. And I try to explain to her that, these people are not any different than, any other human being. You shouldn't be too excited about it. They have talent. You listen to the talent. And, but this whole idea that, these young girls are taking getting photos of these people, of these artists, and then they do kind of weird kind of collages, or they'll put them on their notebooks, and it's just very bizarre to me. Like, I don't know if anybody else feels that way and does such things, but it's just, I'm not talking about you. I'm saying when you were kids, it's a very bizarre time that people like this stuff, that they, to this extent. And so when I think about this story of the golden calf, I think about our youth being, kind of hijacked by the schools, by media, by these damn phones. These phones are being used in a way to rewire the brains of our children so that they flock to these false idols, and that they get their sense of, they get their sense of self or being from people that are just, whatever, singing, or people that might be a famous actor. And the whole thing is extremely, like I said, it's extremely bizarre to me, because it's playing out thousands of years later. And maybe this has always been the case throughout world history, that there's certain groups of people that are overly admired for a skill that they have. And, it's pretty lousy. And so this is what I will say when I also think about this, and hopefully, I know it's a bizarre thing, because I never really thought about being quasi famous or something. And it's weird. It's still weird for me to say it. It's a weird thing. But I understand the math that kind of causes that. In a couple months, I had a couple 100 million plus impressions of people looking up my name, which is crazy when you think about it, right? Because, 2 months earlier, there was probably not a single person that looked up my name. Maybe a couple, I guess some prospects, or, some prospects that I would be calling on. They might look me up to see if I'm real, or, what my background is. And, and I'm bringing this up because from my perspective, it's more of a case study. I kind of look at it as almost like a business case study, or case study, like, okay, here's this guy, I kind of, did some analysis. I said something, people look me up, and I don't really care about any type of fame. Whatever I'm doing, I do believe I'm doing it for the right reasons, at least for me. And I think they coincide with what most of us think is right. Trying to do things for our God, for our fellow Americans and so forth, fellow human beings. And since some of this is kind of falling on me, to deal with, and I told my wife, it's kind of bizarre, right? Because I got a bunch of gray whiskers. I don't know if you can see this, but I didn't really have any gray hairs in this beard 2 months, 5 months ago. I had like no gray hairs. So I don't know what the heck happened, but my wife even noticed it, and she said, you have a bunch of gray hairs coming in. And I'm like, where the hell did that come from? So I don't know, maybe it's a weird coincidence. She happens to think it might be stress. My son thinks it's stress. But I got to tell you, I don't know why in the world my facial hair would start be turning gray because of this. But I guess it's maybe it's a little more stressful than I think. And maybe because I'm kind of like trying to block out any negative energy that is trying to come at me, because there's quite a bit of that. But I definitely feel far more prayers and good things than bad. But going back to this whole calf example and quasi fame, whatever you want to call this, whatever the heck it is I'm just trying to figure out like how to create more of a distributed or method of getting people united across the country. And then somebody reached out to me today. I don't want to say their name because I didn't get permission to say their name, and I respect people's privacy, but they're kind of working on something somewhat similar with regards to trying to unite the country, and they're trying to build some stuff in all 50 states. And, looking at what they're working on and also what I'm working on, I think there is some overlap. And so I'm curious to see how this plays out, because it sounds as though they also have a similar philosophy of dispersing, I guess you can call it dispersing the fame, or, who being famous, right? It's like, instead of using that word, I'd rather come up with a new word, because it's not fame. It's kind of like dispersing leadership, and creating a grassroots network of leadership in this country, where people just, more people step up. And so it's like, how do you cultivate people to trust other people that are really good people, that they don't know. And so I'm trying to think through how to do that so we can better leverage our resources across the country, so that we pull away from this type of nonsense with these golden calves, whether it be athletes, actors, actresses, musicians, and these people start to get big-headed and think that their view or their opinion matters more than the facts. And I think the key to creating something as an alternative, and the alternative to fame should be something along the lines of institutional, very good, onward and upward, institutional trust. Like how do we institutionalize trust? How do we create something where people can trust each other more easily than is currently the case? Because I do believe that we're in a weird spot. We have all this social media, we have all this information. People don't know who to trust. So when you don't know who to trust, you turn to idols. You turn to a gold calf that everybody worships together, or you turn to a pop artist, or you turn to a basketball player or a football player, and everybody wears the same damn jersey or something. I just don't understand it, folks. But, there's something about the human mind, human condition, that goes for group. People want to feel like they're part of something. So from my perspective, what I would love to try to do, with some of this additional attention, that's what I'll call it. I'm not going to call it fame. I have a little more attention than some other people. So since I have a little more attention, I want to try to bring attention to other people that are also gifted and so forth, that can kind of be a source of organizing, and hopefully they don't let it get to their heads either, right? Because I think prayer, having a good spouse, a good family network will keep you in check. My son, he'll kick me in the butt if I start to get a little too big-headed, and my wife will do worse than that. So I do like that, and I do think that we need to, obviously, as we do this and we get other types of people that have more attention, maybe it rotates. Maybe my attention, people paying attention to me will shift, and maybe it shifts tomorrow, maybe it shifts a month from now. I have no idea. But all I do know is I'd like to do my part and kind of, help find other leadership across the country, across the states, to take this problem on. And so that's the way I kind of look at it. And so, Gretchen, thank you. I appreciate it. And Donna as well. I'm going to take some of my research and break it out and explain. I'll probably post the file. Some people are telling me, don't post the file, Bobby. Keep some of it proprietary. I'm not going to give you my algos. Let's get something straight. What I will give people is the raw data file, and I'll explain how it can be organized rather quickly by anybody to put together a various set of information statistics, just using some basic, division and averages and so forth. So nothing complicated, super simple math, but it tells you a lot of information if you know how to just kind of organize those basic steps. And I'll do that with my write-up and explain to people how they can do it in each of their particular counties or their state and so forth. And so people can see for themselves. And I think that I like the idea of more people moving up in terms of visibility, and that, and as people move up in visibility, hopefully there's enough people moving up in visibility with their involvement in helping be this constitution. I call it this constitutional militia. Like we all work together to defend our values, defend our belief in God, the 10 Commandments. And, that's why I call it United Spirits of America. So United Spirits of America seems to be turning into less of a political party and more of a grassroots effort to identify the right candidates in the conservative movement and so forth. And, I think they'll go a long way to diffusing this horrific story about, that is talked about in Exodus 32 that we're witnessing today more than ever. And I think that we all need to do that. And we all need to be very, what was I going to say? We need to be very diligent. Like if people get a little too big-headed, we need to kick them back in line, myself included. And I hope and I pray that I don't get to be like that. But I encourage you to kick me in the butt if I do start to let any of this stuff get to my head. And so I don't have any interest in that, and it just turns my stomach just the thought that it's a possibility. So it's one of the things I pray about most, is not letting any of this get to my head. And I love my life, I love my family, and I don't want to be strayed off of that because of some crap that makes me think otherwise. Thinks takes me away from what I really believe and think. And so, anyways, that's how I feel about this whole situation. Okay, so with regards to Exodus 33, the Lord said to Moses, "Get going, you and the people you brought up from the land of Egypt. Go to the land I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will give this land to your descendants. Okay, I will send in angels before you to drive out the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Go up to this land of milk and honey, but I will not travel among you, for you are stubborn and a rebellious people. If I did, I would surely destroy you along the way." That's a pretty harsh warning. It's like, listen, you guys are just going to piss me off. I don't know if you want to really hear that from God. It's like, listen, you may just piss me off and I'm going to just squash you like a fly. So how about you guys just move ahead without me? Maybe I'll just hope you guys get your stuff together, get your situation resolved, because clearly something's way off. So when Moses went out to the tent of the meeting, all the people would get up and stand in the entrances of their own tent. They would watch Moses until he disappeared inside. As he went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and hover at the entrance when the Lord spoke with Moses. When the people saw the cloud standing at the entrance, they would stand and bow in front of their own tents. Inside the tent of meeting, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as one speaks to a friend. Afterward, Moses would return to the camp, but the young man who assisted him, Joshua, son of Nun, would remain behind in the tent of the meeting. So, it's this whole concept, is interesting to me, with regards to Moses speaking to the Lord and so forth, and our ability to communicate with God, right? Because I do believe that we have the ability, all of us, if we clear our minds, clear our attachments, clear our hang-ups, to speak directly with God. And I think it's not on, we don't get the call, God calls on us. We can, God can hear everything that we're thinking and praying. And in a lot of respects, what's happening in the country right now and what's happening worldwide, is, when we're praying to God. We may not think because we have a direct answer, or like a direct answer from God, like I'm praying to God for help and guidance, and then we might think, oh, I'm not getting any help because I don't feel the direct impact of God sending the message directly to me. And what I would tell you, in my experience, this is just my experience, so I'm just telling you my perspective from what I've seen and so forth, is when you pray like that, you might trigger God to send those prayers and those thoughts to other spirits among us, since we're one body in Christ. So the power of prayer, and this is a wonderful thing to be thinking about right before Easter, when Jesus rises from the dead, is when we all pray, and this is why the lunatic left is trying to stop us from praying, but when we all pray and we wish goodwill toward our fellow Americans, fellow human beings, and in that energy, that power of the prayer, those thoughts, it spills over into all of us, whether we realize it or not. It's a very subtle thing. I guess you could definitely describe it as a whisper. I like I said, for me, I can tell you, it's the craziest thing. And I think sometimes this is why I get so tired at times. I get really, really exhausted just out of the blue, but it usually correlates or corresponds, whatever you want to say, with these sensations that I hear. This like I said before, it's not ocean waves. It's kind of like a very smooth flowing static, and it ebbs and flows, and then it'll stop, and then it'll be something else. And it's super bizarre, folks, because my head will get sometimes super hot. And I don't have a single. At first, I don't have any thoughts. Right? It's very weird because I don't have any images coming through. I don't hear anything, no sounds except for that buzzing sound and what's happening. But meanwhile, my head is getting very hot. And so it kind of tells me something's going on. And so I hope somebody's not trying to zap my brain or something like that and do some damage with some kind of weapon that I don't know about. But I don't think that's what's happening, because shortly thereafter, when this all happens, I see all these images flow in. So it's very, very bizarre. It's like, it kind of reminds me of a download when you download something off the web. You download a PDF, and then all of a sudden you can't open it until the whole download's done. But then once it's done, you can open it. And so it's just bizarre. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, if this is happening to me, there's no way I'm alone. There's got to be other people this is happening to. And I think some of this might be happening to a lot more people than we realize, because we're all praying a lot more, and we're all praying for guidance. We're praying for help. And so whoever among us is trying to be maybe a little more receptive, maybe I'm a little more trying to be more receptive. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is. Maybe it's something else. But it all ties into this, is what I'm saying. And so Moses is basically telling us that we can feel it, and and everybody was excited to see it. But you should ask yourself the other question, which is, okay, well, if Bobby can feel this, why am I not trying to feel it? Why don't I try to connect like that? And what I would tell you is, because you can't. No, I'm just joking. I just had to do it. What I'm trying to tell you instead is, you should absolutely try to do it, and you should this reality that I do believe occurs and can occur for anybody, and try to bring it out in yourselves, and bring it out for your family, bring it out for people that you love, and I think that I think everybody can do it. I really do. I think we've all just been we've been barraged. I'm sorry, I had to do it. Onward. I just thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, but because everybody's so serious all the time, so I gotta infuse a little bit of humor to kind of break it up. But anyways, I do think that we have so much crap. Like I'll give you an example. My wife, one of the first things that she wanted to do, when we moved in together, was a water filtration system for the house, and like really clear out all this crap in the water, especially all this fluoride and everything. And you got to remember, just because you don't drink your water, you shower with that water. So then the shower, when you shower in this this fluoride is in the water, it's also seeping into, maybe some of it seeps into your skin. You're smelling it. You're smelling this fluoride. You're smelling all these chemicals in the water. So I love the fact that my wife's like, we're going to get rid of all this crap. We're going to spend the money. It's not cheap, but we're going to feel a lot better. And, she did this a while back, when, like I said, when we first moved in. And maybe that helped kind of keep my I've read research on this, my little pituitary gland a little cleaner or something, my pineal gland. And maybe this helps you think more clearly. I don't know. I don't think it's impossible. But in terms of doing that type of stuff, I think that's what helps us clear out some of this garbage. And maybe this is why, these people pollute our food with all these chemicals and preservatives, and that there's a lot of other chemicals and things that we're not careful of. Our clothes. Think of how many, think of how much stuff is in our clothes. I try to just, it's not easy, folks, but, trying to buy good quality, real clothes, like not synthetic clothes. Just like we eat synthetic food. They want us to eat synthetic meat. It's like, no, this is all a bunch of horse shit. We should be eating real food that's like real ingredients and not synthesized in a lab. And we should wear clothes that are made out of cotton and wool and other materials that are natural and not filled with polymers and plastics and all this other stuff that who knows if it kind of seeps into our bodies over time. And so this is the type of stuff that I love Chanel. That's funny. My plastic sweater. I hear you, but I wish we had some better people working on behalf of the American people that would look into this and research it to see, how much of it is impacting our health and how much of it's impacting our brains. Maybe our brains and our spiritual connection is being stunted, or not necessarily permanently stunted, but maybe it's being maybe it's like interference. It's kind of like it's blocking what we're fully what we're fully capable of. And I think that's the key is, we need to kind of start observing this in ourselves and people that we're around and see if there's something to it. Maybe this is what's happening. And don't bust my bubble, man. No, I hear you. So that's what I think about when I'm reading this, because we do need to get a better handle on how much we control every aspect of our lives. And I think maybe this whole thing that's happening, what we're going through as a nation, and looking at Exodus 32 and looking at Exodus 33. So 33 happens to be one of my favorite numbers, as everybody knows. 333, 33, 13. Those are my favorite numbers. But so we're on Exodus 33. And what's interesting about this, with regards to what they're talking about with Exodus 33, is hold on a second here. hold on one second, is when we, where did it go? Then Moses said, if you don't personally go with us, don't make us leave this place. How will anyone know that you look favorably on me and on your people if you don't go with us? For your presence among us set your people and me apart from all the other people on earth. The Lord replied to Moses, I will indeed do what you have asked. For I look favorably on you, and I know you by name. Then show me your glorious presence. The Lord said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will call out my name Yahweh before you. For I will show mercy to anyone I choose, and I will show compassion to anyone I choose. But you may not look directly at my face, for no one may see me and live. The Lord continued, look, stand near me on this rock as my glorious presence passes by. I will hide you in the crevice of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand and let you see me from behind, but my face will not be seen. So, when you're kind of going over this and you're kind of thinking about this from Moses' perspective and thinking about it from the people's perspective, that and maybe this also ties into this whole concept of fame. People want to feel like there's somebody that that they're kind of looking up to, and like someone said earlier, I think it was Gretchen, with regards to leadership and so forth. That if we on an individual level start to act as though everything is lost, like how many of us feel. So we all kind of feel like right now in this country, there's a loss of direction and there's a loss of faith in our institutions. And we have a choice. We can be like, okay, we don't know what the heck to do because a lot of this stuff is so corrupted and it's so bad. And so since we all are feeling this way, right? I don't think I'm alone. I don't think you guys are alone. This is all over the place. And since we all are feeling this simultaneously, it's like a collective effort, so to speak, that we're all come to this realization at the same time, then we truly have the ability to remake the world around the ideals that we've imagined in our minds and in our heads. And so that, I know Moses felt better with the Lord being there and having the credibility of the Lord. And then, the Lord said he would be there. And what I would say to that is, we all know that the Lord's here with us. The Lord has always been here. It's wonderful if you read the Footprints, poem about, the footprints in the sand. That's a beautiful poem that really summarizes the Lord's ability to be with us the whole time, and we just don't pay attention. And so if we kind of go back to that concept of paying attention and knowing the Lord's been here this whole time, and now we're kind of seeing what reality has become because we weren't paying attention to the Lord being here. So it's a very interesting transition. It's kind of like before, we're kind of in our own little bubble. We're following all this madness, this this behavior that's not very righteous. And then the Lord is right there watching us the whole time. And as we're going through this world up to a few years ago, and myself, everybody, I think there's a lot of us that can say we were kind of like asleep at the wheel. We let all these people do all this crazy stuff for decades. And then all of a sudden, people started to kind of see what's going on. And then we kind of look over and we're like, whoa, the Lord's right there. And he's kind of showing us these little snippets of problems, and maybe this was our awakening. We're getting little snippets of the truth, and people are speaking up that are being blessed by the Lord. And as it continues to build, we see more and more. So now we have a choice. Do we go back to what it was, where we were asleep, or do we remake the world as we know it in more of an image of God's plan and bring that righteousness here? And I think if we do that, I do believe that we will find much more peace, and I do believe that the world would be a far more just place. And so I can't stress it enough that it all starts with us on a family level, like an individual level, and then our families, what we do to help contribute if we have the means to do so. And you have to remember something about the means. The means doesn't always mean money, folks. Money is a store of our work and effort, but then our work and effort is also real-time money. so you can give of your time and energy, and that is literally money, folks. It's fluid money. But then there's people that have money that is stored money. It's like they put the money aside from what they did work on with something else. So you have the ability to do both. And I highly recommend that if you're going to do stuff with your money to make a difference in this world and your community and so forth, then please consider doing it more in the context of you're attached to the process. Like, don't give money blindly. Say, hey, what am I going to get for it? And really keep score. Say, what's I gave this money, what's working, what isn't working, and so forth, because that's the way we're really going to change the world for the better, is when we bring the accountability to our time, like how we donate our time and energy, as well as how we donate money to different causes, that we want results. If we don't get results, then you might as well just sit back and pray. That's what I would say. Go sit back, and pray, and and so forth. Maria, I've read a tremendous amount over my lifetime. I mean, you can see my library. I probably have over 1,000 books, and I have all the great works and so forth. I haven't read them all, but I have them. Like the 100 Top Great Works and Harvard Classics, and I've professionally read. I used to read. When I say it, it sounds a little weird to people, but I used to literally print and have interns print 500 pages of filings a day on companies, and so I would read about all these companies, and then I figured out ways to read faster and and organize. So I have a pretty fast reading pace. I could probably read, depending on my mood, 600 to 800 words plus per minute, and with a pretty high retention. But I think it's just because I've been doing it so long. I think all of us can be trained to do that. I think that it's just a function of what do you want to wire your brain to do. And so I highly recommend whatever you think you would like to do, you just put in the time and come up with a game plan, and you'll have it happen, but it may not happen overnight. So you have to be patient and don't do anything that discourages you. I tell my son all the time, when my daughter's like, she's 4, and my other one's 2, and I said, she can't talk just yet. She's sounding out words at 2, and she's trying to talk. She knows a couple phrases, but she's trying. And I said, when should we give up on trying to get her to talk? And the answer is, of course, never. You should always, get her to talk and just keep trying. And there is no timeline for when it should happen. And the same with, a child, when unless there's a medical condition, when do they start walking? That everybody has this crazy notion that they're supposed to follow some bogus posts, guideposts that who the hell created them? I don't think K through 12 is. I think it's a horrible structure. I think we should. Some people might finish 12 years of schooling in 5 years. Some might finish it in 16. Why should we have a time limit on it? It should be tied to the mastery of the subject. And I think with technology the way it is, we can do it. Yeah, well, I'm a huge believer in Montessori, and actually our daughters are, going back to Montessori school. We kind of, now that they're opening up, we feel a little better. Caroline, I have written quite a bit. I've probably written thousands of pages of material, but here's the deal. I have to kind of piece it all together now. And so I need to literally, I need to sit down like a gigantic puzzle and then kind of piece it together, because I would write a lot of different ideas, but it would be a little too much. I mean, it makes sense where it is in my mind. When I would write, I can kind of recall why I wrote it and where it's at. But if I gave you a stack of what I've written over the past 5-10 years, you'd be like, what the hell is this mess? And so I think I think at some point I will work on it. And, I was actually thinking of Ronan helping me out, is coming up with some stuff for him to help me do, so that then he can kind of learn some of these principles. Because I think he's more at an age now where he seems to pay attention a little more. He's not so, I guess, I don't know. He for some reason he's listening a little more to what I have to say. So maybe he can chime in if that's true or not, or maybe it's just maybe I'm just hallucinating on that point. So Caroline, I'll let you know when I post something. I may do something with micro books, like 13 to 33 pages, just so that people have an easier time picking up the concepts and breaking up the problem. And I kind of like that idea of micro books on different subjects and so forth. Okay, so let's go to Matthew. And this was Matthew 26 is pretty short. We'll just go right to the point. This is when Peter denies Jesus 3 times. It's really sad in the movie. If anybody who's seen it, the rooster crows and so forth. I think, by the way, Maria, the problem with big books is the way they design this. And I do believe this is what's flawed with our structure in society with these books. Big books encourage people. It causes a weird kind of a discouragement. You buy a book and you read 100 pages, and then you didn't read the other 200, so you feel like you let yourself down. And I think that's a horrible thing. And so, from my mind, I'd rather have people feel like they have a bunch of wins. Like, hey, Maria, here's this 13-page book. Have a read of it, and you're like, man, I read a book today. So anyways, I think God bless Donna and happy Easter. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. So I think that if you read a 13-page book, or a 30-page book, 33-page book, whatever, and you read a bunch of them, you might be like, this is super cool. I got a book done today. You're like, how are you getting a book done every day? You don't have to tell anybody it's only 33 pages. I'm just saying. So anyways, this is the way, you should never, ever apologize to yourself or be upset with yourself if you bought a book and you only read 100 pages. If you got some value out of it. So if you got some joy out of it, or you learned something, because just one idea, 2 ideas, or just it bringing you peace of mind or joy, that should be enough. Don't be so hard on yourselves. I think that's the problem that a lot of people face, is they beat themselves up over this stuff. And I never do. I can tell you right now, I don't have any problem, reading 100 pages of something, 5 pages of something else, an entire book of something else, and then rereading that entire book again. And so I'm all over the place. I just go with what feels right and what I want to get out of the books. So yeah, Audible is awesome too. I like to listen to certain things too, but I'm more of I definitely like to read. I read faster than I can listen. So usually I listen to stuff at 2 times speed. So on to Matthew 27. Very early in the morning, and the leading priests and elders of the people met to lay plans for putting Jesus to death. They bound him, led him away, and took him to Pontius Pilate, right? Pilate, the Roman governor. When Judas, who had betrayed him, realized that Jesus was condemned to die, he was filled with remorse. I've sinned. He took the money back and threw it. He wanted to give it back. What do we care? That's your problem, is what they said when he was trying to return the money. And then the leading priest picked up the coins. He ended up going and killing himself because he was filled with remorse. The priest picked up the coins. They didn't put it back into the temple treasury because it was blood money. And so they bought a field that would be there for, Potter. They purchased Potter's Field. And it's kind of funny, right? Because It's a Wonderful Life. It's Potter's Field, Pottersville. It's kind of interesting, right? I wonder if the movie It's a Wonderful Life is tied to this Matthew 27. It'd be really curious. I have no idea if anybody's done that, but it would be definitely worth looking into. But anyways, it fulfilled the prophecy of Potter's Field being built, for. It says, this is what it says. It's called the Field of Blood. So it wouldn't be right to put this money. After some discussion, they bought Potter's Field and they made it into a cemetery for foreigners. That is why the field is still called the Field of Blood. This fulfilled the prophecy of Jeremiah. So there you go. So I wonder if it's tied to that. So yeah, Jules is saying it is tied to that movie. So it's pretty interesting how much of the world around us is tied to these incredible stories and lessons about our humanity and so forth. I never heard about him being stoned, but I definitely heard him being hung, hanging himself and so forth. So, anyways, that's about it on Matthew 27. So Psalms 33. Let the godly sing for joy to the Lord. It is fitting for the pure to praise him. Praise the Lord with melodies on the lyre. Make music for him on the 10-stringed harp. Sing a new song of praise to him. Play skillfully on the harp and sing it with joy. For the word of the Lord holds true, and we can trust everything he does. He loves whatever is just and good. The unfailing love of the Lord fills the earth. And so, by the way, I wanted to mention one other thing with regards to where we're at as a society with all this craziness. And here's the beauty of it, folks. And I'm very appreciative, and I'm glad everybody's taking the time to kind of share this journey with me. I think we're journeying together through this great work. Is that we all have the ability at any moment in time to just go right into the greatest book ever written and see the truth for what it is, and that nobody has to filter it. And so, I'm just sharing my perspective, and I encourage you to kind of think through and think about your perspective and write it down. And I've said this before, it's wonderful if you set up some other groups too, and that, and it's just a wonderful way of sharing communion of knowledge and insights from the greatest book ever written, as well as your own personal experiences of how those insights relate to the life that you've lived up to this point and where you're going and so forth. So anyways, I think that's super cool. And I think that everybody should try to consider that path as well, if you have the time. The Lord merely spoke and the heavens were created. He breathed the word and all the stars were born. He assigned the sea its boundaries and locked the oceans in vast reservoirs. Let the whole world fear the Lord, and let everyone stand in awe of him. For when he spoke, the world began. It appeared at his command. The Lord frustrates the plans of the nations and thwarts all of their schemes. But the Lord's plans stand firm forever. His intentions can never be shaken. And so, going back to that whole concept, the Lord can accomplish anything and everything at any time, is because it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool from the standpoint that the Lord can just accomplish anything he wants at any time by just sending the message to any of us and all of us. So it's pretty cool because the Lord can call on all of us at any moment, because if we choose to hear it, we can all act. So in essence, the Lord is changing the world, and he'd rather have it changed through us, through free will, than by doing it just as Lord, as Lord, just doing it by themselves. It's like anything else, folks. It's kind of like I think that I think what would be pretty interesting is, like, if you go golfing, or anybody's gone golfing, or you see a wonderful movie that and then I encourage you to go golfing by yourself, and I encourage you to go golfing with someone who loves golfing with you. And what's pretty cool about it is when you hit a great shot, or you have a wonderful day when the weather's like this, it just has so much more meaning than when it was just you. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think the key to life is trying to figure out how to have an incredible meaning in your own solace, as well as having a moment of sharing it with others too, and everything in between, maybe one person or a group of people. But if you can truly enjoy your time in this body as a spirit, and you can find that joy on an individual level, one other person level, or a group level, and make the most of it, it's pretty amazing, right? I mean, it's just you can get a tremendous amount out of life, and I think that's kind of what the Lord does. What he does, he probably has moments where the Lord just enjoys just being the Lord and doing whatever it is the Lord wants to do in their spare time. And then there's times when the Lord wants to enjoy seeing us prosper and seeing us thrive, and then bringing that out in each other. And I think it's a wonderful thing that we can play along that entire spectrum, and we ebb and flow with regards to where we're at that day, and what lessons we're going to learn today, and so forth. So, anyways, I just thought I'd share that, because that's, I think, what's up sometimes. Why we have free will, because Lord wants to see if we can find the same joy in life and the meaning of life that the Lord already knows. And so that's that. So let's go to Proverbs 8. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Don't ignore it. Joyful are those who listen to me, watching for me daily at my gates, waiting for me outside my home. For whoever finds me finds life and receives favor from the Lord. But those who miss me injure themselves, and who hate me love death. Now, this is very bizarre, folks. This happens. It seems to happen a lot, doesn't it? Like, I'll say something that I'm kind of feeling or thinking about, like what just happened in Psalms 33, and then it's like, it's like I don't know if it's some kind of divine inspiration or something. And I kind of read the next thing, and it just like flows right into it. So maybe this is just absolutely exceptional organization on the part of this app to kind of tie things together. But it is fascinating that that we were just talking about that whoever wants the Lord as part of their life and incorporates the joy and the beauty, it's a wonderful thing. So with that, we are done for today. It just feels very weird that I'm done before 9:30 p.m. It's only 2:52. So anyways, thank you all for joining me earlier, given the me visiting my sister today, Jeremiah 3:33. There we go. Yeah, I do feel like a nap. I do agree with you, Maria. I can't take one though. I got too much to do, but I would definitely like to take a nap right now. Sometimes my dog gets a lot more rest than me. So, anyways, uh, I hope everybody has a wonderful day and enjoys this weather. Have a blessed Easter morning, and then yeah, I'll be on tomorrow at 8:30. Probably I may do a little broadcast or something, maybe a quick little snippet in the morning, just saying something. And but thank you all. God bless you. God bless your family and friends. May God continue to bless the greatest nation in the history of the world. And may peace be with you. And I do believe you put God first. Peace will most definitely find you. And thank you, Scott, Dallas, Henry, Maria, Onward, Rhonda, everybody, Gretchen. I hope you guys, Matt. I hope you guys have a wonderful time, and God bless you as well, and Jim as well, and please take the time to enjoy and savor every moment because it is beautiful. Tomorrow, Maria, it's going to be 8:30 p.m. So I'll be back at 8:30 tomorrow. So, alrighty. So I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks again for chiming in. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. God bless.